The Islamic Republic of Iran claims it has launched a new wave of missile strikes against Israel. Tehran says more than 10 powerful Kheybar Shekan missiles were fired towards Tel Aviv, marking what it calls the 33rd wave of its ongoing military campaign titled Operation True Promise 4. Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps says it has launched another major strike as part of its military campaign known as Operation True Promise 4. According to the IRGC, more than 10 solid-fuel Kheybar Shekan missiles were fired from Iran during the latest wave of attacks. The missiles were aimed deep into what Iran described as the central areas of Israeli-controlled territory, including Tel Aviv. Iranian officials claim the missiles successfully hit their intended targets. Israel rejected the claim. The IRGC also said the strikes formed part of the 33rd wave of the operation launched during the early hours of Tuesday. In addition to the strikes on Israel, Iran claims it targeted a United States naval base in the region. According to the IRGC statement, missiles were fired towards what it described as the 5th U.S. naval base operating in the area. Iran said the missiles launched during the attack successfully struck their targets. The latest barrage comes as Iranian officials signal a more prolonged confrontation with Washington. Kamal Kharrazi, the head of Iran's Strategic Council on Foreign Relations, said Tehran is prepared for what he described as a long-time war with the United States. In an interview, he argued that there is no longer room for diplomacy between the two countries. Kharrazi accused U.S. President Donald Trump of deception, saying previous negotiations had not been honored. He said that while talks were ongoing, the United States and Israel launched attacks against Iran. According to Kharrazi, the ongoing war could also increase economic pressure across the wider region. He warned that inflation and energy shortages linked to the conflict could eventually force other countries to intervene. The Iranian official called on Gulf states and other governments to pressure Washington to bring the conflict to an end. Iran Foreign Ministry has too claimed that the Islamic Republic has so far refused requests for a ceasefire from countries including China, France, and Russia.
Some contacts are being held with the Islamic Republic of Iran, as you follow in the news now. From China, Russia, France, and even some countries in the region are in contact with us and other countries, both Islamic and non-Islamic ones. Some of them, yes, are actually willing to act to stop this war or establish a ceasefire.
The cessation of this war is in the hands of the Islamic Republic of Iran. This means that whenever the Islamic Republic of Iran decides for them to stop, the ultimate decision rests with the Islamic Republic of Iran in this matter, because they were the ones who committed aggression. They carried out armed attacks. In point of fact, we should only reach a stage where we stop our activities when we are able to truly feel or have a firm and absolute guarantee that these aggressive acts of hostility will never occur again in the future, and they must be prepared to take full responsibility for all of their past actions. It is not as if they can just come here today and demand a stop and a ceasefire, and we would just say fine and it is all over. We hold the upper hand at this moment. You see, every single attempt that they have made has resulted in nothing but failure. Even at this very moment that they have not achieved their objectives. The Islamic Republic of Iran has inflicted severe and truly painful damages upon the Zionist regime, America, and all of their allies. Just take a look at the current state of the global economy and energy. This situation is truly agonizing for them. Therefore, you can clearly see that we have dealt them very fatal blows in this particular regard. So, we actually have the upper hand here, and therefore the Islamic Republic of Iran will determine the end of the war.
The United States and Israel launched a new round of aerial strikes against Iranian targets on February 28th. Those attacks followed earlier confrontations and occurred months after a previous conflict between the sides. Iran responded by launching waves of missile and drone strikes targeting Israeli positions and American bases across the region. With both sides now exchanging increasingly powerful attacks, fears are growing that the confrontation could evolve into a prolonged regional war.
Iran launched a fresh ballistic missile attack on Israel early Tuesday, triggering air raid sirens across parts of northern Israel. A limited number of missiles were fired, prompting residents to seek shelter as warning systems were activated across several northern communities. According to Israeli medics, there were no immediate reports of direct impacts or injuries from the latest barrage. Around the same time, sirens also sounded in the Kiryat Shmona area near Israel's northern border, following rocket fire from Lebanon, according to Israeli authorities. Before northern Israel, Iran had fired missiles towards central Israel and occupied West Bank settlements. There were no reports of direct impacts or injuries in the missile attack. Sirens sounded across central Israel and parts of the West Bank. In response, the Israeli Defense Forces, or IDF, announced that the Israeli Air Force had launched a new wave of extensive airstrikes in Tehran. The military said the strikes targeted sites linked to the Iranian regime. The IDF described the operation as the second round of Israeli strikes carried out in Tehran earlier in the day. The Israeli military claimed around 2,000 Iranian military personnel, including top commanders, have been killed so far.
We are now in the 10th day of Operation Lion's Roar. The Air Force has continued throughout the day to strike targets of the Iranian regime in Tehran, Isfahan, and southern Iran. In the last 10 days, we have struck and undermined the Iranian terror regime. Since the start of the operation, the IDF has eliminated over 1,900 regime soldiers and commanders and wounded thousands more. We have many more targets. This is a continuous effort. We are intensifying the severe damage across all levels and systems of the regime. In a significant attack by Air Force planes, we destroyed the Quds Forces transportation network. During the attack, we targeted and destroyed 16 transport aircraft operating on behalf of the Revolutionary Guard. These planes were part of a transfer route for weapons and money to the regime's proxies throughout the Middle East. Since the start of the operation, we've attacked 6 military airfields across Iran. We continue to strike the strategic capabilities of the regime and its terror axis. Meanwhile, the Air Force is continuing to hunt down in real time the cells of the Iranian missile launchers. In Lebanon, we are continuing with a forward defense for the residents and settlements of the north. Northern Command is spearheading a significant offensive effort against Hezbollah, operating around the clock. So far, we have attacked over 700 Hezbollah targets, including more than 100 targets belonging to the Radwan force, which is Hezbollah's primary terrorist unit. We have struck over 50 targets in Beirut, including 35 multi-story buildings that served as terror infrastructure for the organization.